Change chat modes and that. Wow, they're adding new features. Ooh. It's about a decade too late. So the UK is going to be banning under 16s from accessing social media. All while nobody talks about the real issue. So it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter if we ban a certain group of people, it's like a certain age of people. If those people at an older and older and older age, they're still childish and not grown up, and they don't know better, and they still make these same mistakes. So the age of requirement to use the internet will keep going higher and higher and higher based on the true science that's backing up this claim, which is kind of true, that social media is affecting young people in a negative way. You know, somebody with like Down syndrome and they're 25 or something, they're going to have this same problems as what they're describing with the youngster generation now. Um, Pretty sure a Down syndrome person, I don't think they would be able to use the internet. I don't know. I actually never looked into that. But that's the talk around town right now is the UK is banning 16s and under or under 16, which, like I said, that could change. You know, an 18-year-old may not know better than the 16-year-old. The 20-year-old may not know better than the 10-year-old in some cases. So that age is going to keep going up and up and up. My point is that, great, we've finally passed a law that protects young people, but does it really solve the problem? Because really, these algorithms are allowed to just commit murder without any human oversight. They just do it on their own. Like the example that I was explaining before, you know, gymnastics or regular challenge videos turns deadly. That the algorithm can be used to cause damage to people without, you know, their realization that what they're doing is not safe to do. The Tide Pod challenge, every motherfucking moderator that was on site during that time should have been held responsible for even allowing that trend to continue even for a minute, you know. So we could sit here, we could bar young people from accessing the internet all we want, but it's not going to fix the ultimate problem, and that is these algorithms are allowed to run on their own. Nobody's allowed to have any input whether or not this is, you know, safe to do, not safe to do. A good example is a Taylor Swift move, the big drop. She would use like a curtain and she'd like fall on the curtain. She'd do like flips or something, and that started being a trend. So there's people that weren't professional gymnasts doing the big drop in response to Taylor Swift's big drop. Okay. And I don't know if anybody got hurt doing that, but it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're doing that, the chances of you getting hurt are too high to allow that to pass the algorithm. So these moderators need to be held responsible at some point. If one of these laws that are protecting these companies from any liability is the privacy for the moderators that are built into these systems. So there's no accountability for those moderators. Hey, how are you guys doing? You know, people are saying hi and stuff. I wish you would come up with some real conversation when you comment, so we can continue the conversation. My conversation ends because it's like 40 minutes ago or something, and now I'm getting ready for it. So we're worried about something that's already there. They're gonna have all of our data. Oh no, bro! They already have our data. Random ass fuckers have our data. The government definitely has our data. It's just that we haven't officialized their capacity yet. We haven't said, oh, we totally, it's totally lawful for you to do that. They're just basically doing it and skirting the law. Like, it's not that it's not against the, it's not that it's not against the law to take somebody's information like that. It's that because of the terms and conditions, they're allowed to take that data just because of the terms and conditions. Excuse me. What else could I talk about? Really not much else. Trump destroying the deal. Basically, he just went ahead and went along with the deal. He didn't go soft. He just, everybody's been complaining so hard that he had to come up with some kind of a plan that just, fixes it. So all these whiners are like, oh my God, Trump started a war with Iran, but he didn't. Now has basically caused us to go into a bad deal just to shut everybody up. That's the danger with all of this, is that there's a commander that's doing things and everybody's going, blah, 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 oh, don't do that. But during the COVID shit, barely anybody spoke up. We the entire world's economy got shut down and nobody fucking piped up about that. But now we're going to complain about Trump actually setting the world straight and making sure that there's peace on the planet. Now everybody's going to start yelling and screaming because they don't like Trump. Everybody who doesn't have a horse in this race needs to sit the fuck down. You don't understand the world economy. You don't understand, history. You haven't apparently looked into it. You look at the history into the internet, then you understand how we got here. So there used to be a thing called, what was it called? It was something before MySpace. It was like Friends or something. And you were allowed, like, what is it? I forget if you weren't allowed to like use a random name, but basically Facebook ended up doing the thing that MySpace was trying to fix. And MySpace allowed you to use whatever name you would like. You didn't have to put your actual name. Then Facebook said, no, you can totally put your name on here if you want to put your first and last name on your account. Perfect. Then you can come over to our platform and you can do that. And then everybody jumped over there because it was the newest thing. Not because everybody wanted to put their name up there. It was because it was the newest thing. So we still haven't even got over that. The fact that everybody's conformed to Facebook, everybody decided to bow down to Facebook. Yes, we will give our full name in first and last names. You retards, those people who went over to Facebook and are on Facebook right now are the problem. You're the reason why we're going into this whole every piece of our data is taken. It's in the fucking name. Metadata. You fucking assholes that you're using Facebook right now are the problem. You're the reason for this next generation of data collection, data harvesting on everyone. So whoever's using Facebook right now, don't fucking complain 1 second about your data being taken in the future. Do not complain, because you made that possible. You enabled these companies to take over. You didn't want to use Telegram. You didn't want to use, things that actually protected your privacy. You decided to use Facebook, where your full first, middle, and last name is sitting right there for everybody to see. Your phone number, probably even your social security number. When I attempted to get into my other account, this is why I left Facebook. It's because I tried to get into my other account and it said I needed an ID, social security number. I put that stuff in and it was like, oh, sorry, you already have an account over here. I'm like, what? Really? So I couldn't have a second account on Facebook. The reason why I wanted a second account on Facebook is because I wanted to see the restrictions. I wanted to see what's the difference between this account and the other account. Now, I went inactive on one account and they're like, we want all your data. So I saw a long time ago. This was before everybody else realized people would lose their accounts later on, and they would have their social security number or ID, and or I think it's even both. So you've given your data to Facebook. You've already given your data out. I don't want to hear anybody that's using Facebook complaining about people taking the data in the future. They would have zero power over us if people did not use Facebook and Instagram. I understand the notion of we need to fight. We need to fight where they're at. I've said that myself. But fighting where they're at is right here. YouTube. YouTube doesn't take your data. Google doesn't want to take your data. They give you your data. They give you your passport to get around on their systems. So Google has been the most private of them all. Yeah, of course they're going to give away a bit of data to somebody if there's a murder or something situation. Yeah, of course they're going to give that information to the authorities. But in general, Google isn't handing our data to the government, or Google isn't handing the stuff out. It's through the advertisement that our data is being collected. And they can put the pieces together later. But that could have happened through any website. If you were not using Google, if you weren't using the Google infrastructure, you'd be using the worldwide web infrastructure where everybody's also still collecting that data, but in a less official capacity. Oh my God, Real ID. We have to put our identification up. You've already given your ID out. Stop complaining about these fucking laws. You've already done it. If you're using Facebook. If you're not using Facebook, if you're not using Instagram, then that's a different story. Then you have all the right to complain about this shit. You've held the line. You stood the test of time. And you made sure not to give these huge companies any more of your data. I deleted my account from Facebook. Deleted it. Doesn't exist. My personal me doesn't exist on Facebook or Instagram. It doesn't exist on most of these other platforms. I could imagine somebody using, like, clipping me and stuff and putting me on those platforms because I don't exist. I'm on here because taken down. Like, there's so many people that complain about YouTube censorship and stuff. This is a place where I don't feel like I'm going to get shut down, especially with Trump in office. Let's see. What are the things that we need to be complaining about? Something like this. So after probably about a straight week of my device working, just actually this one, this device just working just fine, and it had been for months before, maybe like a month and a half, maybe 2 months before that, not working well at all. Now it's asking me to update my phone. As if now they realize that they cannot hack into my phone because I don't have, the latest update or something. And so they want me to update my phone so they can dig into my data more. That's the stuff that we need to be paying attention to. That's the stuff that we need to have our eyes out for. These weird updates, these changes of the terms and service, they need to be called out every single time that they're changing these terms of service. I like Louis Rossmann because he calls it out every single time. He's looking through these details and he's like, yeah, they just added that. And that seems a little bit more than coincidentally conflicting with their message of, we care about your privacy. So there's some people that are actually, yelling out about it. But if you're a person that uses Facebook, you are contributing to this whole digital identity shit. you can't pull out of it at this point. You've already given them enough data. So anybody who uses Facebook, make all this money and stuff, you have accepted the beast. You are the reason why digital IDs will be a thing, because you already conformed. I got off of Facebook because of the unfair practices. You can't make another account. In the beginning, you couldn't even have your shirt off in the pictures. It was like, what? I'm a dude. Yet somebody else can post a baby picture of you. This was the biggest thing that I had a problem with. A family member of mine posted a baby picture of me naked sitting in a sink. I'm like, take that down. Take that down. I was tagged in it. Take that down. They wouldn't take it down. They wouldn't take my naked baby picture down. What a bunch of fucking weirdos. That's Facebook for you. So I was like, if I'm not going to get, I'm not going to be able to fix this, then I'm not going to use their platform. So if you're using Facebook today and you have not held the line, do not complain about digital IDs in the future, because you have already lost the war for us. And what'd you do with it? Did you fix anybody's lives? Did you use it to, promote the expansion of business to other people? Yeah, on Facebook. You gave the people that sold their identity to the beast all the access to all the business and stuff, because there's plenty of people giving free stuff out on Facebook Marketplace. There's plenty of people selling stuff for cheap on Facebook Marketplace. I know about it. I've been told about it. In fact, I found a vehicle for sale because somebody had found it on Facebook Marketplace. That was my last SUV. I know it's available on Facebook. Look at but that's not enough to go and sell my data out there. If I'm going to sell my data, I'm going to be going to places that actually pay me directly. So that's why I like Atlas Earth. It collects your data, but it's actually paying you for that data. If you want to watch an ad, it's going to pay you directly in Atlas bucks, but that's come back to you in 5 years. If you play Atlas Earth, anything that you put into it, do not expect it in the next year. Expect it back in the next year. Expect it in 5 years from now. And if the platform stays active. That's what I've been able to work it out to. It's about 5 years. That's when you'll see your return of investment. So don't invest in Atlas Earth unless you're willing to wait 5 years down the road to get it back and to be active in the game. So that's the other part. There's two parts to this. Yeah, of course, wait 5 years, but also you have to be active. So if you're not active and you're not excelling and continuing to watch these ads to earn, then you're not going to see that full amount in 5 years. A lot of people call it a scam. It's not a scam because they actually pay you. It just takes a long time to get it back. But that's data that I accepted to be taken, and I knew what that data would be doing. It would be mapping out the world around me. I've seen them manipulate the world because they found out that the world isn't actually shaped like this, it's shaped like that. So they decide to add plots into the world. Like they're actually modifying the world in that game based on real positions, real locations. So our data is helping map in Atlas Earth, map the entire planet. What is Facebook doing? They're mapping our relationships. That's useless because relationships break, repair, they're just all over the place. We have different relationships with different people. They're just capturing that data. Data is completely useless at the end of the day because most of these people that are making these relationships will not be business partners in the next 5 years. So I've picked and chose which companies are going to have my data. That's why I don't buy that DoorDash has my location data at all times. It's always seeing where I'm located at all times. What that does for me is it protects me. If there's like some kind of heinous crime that's committed in a different state or something, it showed that I was in this state at this position. Perhaps even did some dashes during that time. So that's how I see the data collection done by certain companies to companies. Walmart steals your data without your permission. Walmart is so hardcore in taking your data. It's insane. Try throwing their app on your phone and see how bad it lags out. Literally, just visit their site, log in, and see how badly your phone lags out. You know, you're worried about a government takeover, but you're subscribed to Facebook. Dude, you have no room for a complaint in the future when we all have to use digital identities because you're the fucking reason. Dark web is actually a greater, like if you really want to get, you know, there's worse causes, you know. To take one of your baby pictures down where you're naked in it, like that you're tagged in, that should be automatic. That shouldn't have been an argument. It should have been, okay, we're taking that down. That's a picture of you that was posted somewhere else. You know, as if my rights as a child were any different than what they are as an adult. You know, that was like 12 years ago. I saw this problem, you know, before I even started digging into the dark web and seeing what the hell was actually out there. I dug into the dark web for like a quick minute and I saw some sick shit and I was like, that's not what I was looking for. I mean, I was looking for information. Now, the only way to get information is you have to sift through dark, deadly content in order to find the truth. So what am I doing right now? I'm just waiting till about 5:30, maybe 5:45. If not after 6, I'm not sure. It's any time between 5:30 and maybe even 7. But I'll start heading out. I'll have my dash on at 6. But I'm back to like a decent schedule where I can work in the morning. Today I went out twice in the morning. I went out at like 6 o'clock. I think I left the house. And it was only a few hours. I went back out at like 11:45 in the morning, and then you know, I did a full run, and then I came back, put the thing on the charger, and I meant to wake up a few hours later, but instead I woke up now, which is nice because I'm back on, you know, schedule. You know, 2 runs is at, you know, the minimum that I want to reach, but I'm at like 60 something orders for the month, which is good. You know, if I had 2 bikes running, bro, I'd be making some good money, especially right now. But I got plans. Seeing things work out a little better going forward. Anyways, the UK is going to be implementing these IDs, and it's just like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. You know, you could have worked together and built an entire internet on the side of all this mainstream crap, but instead everybody chose Facebook. Everybody chose to, you know, give their future to a rich person rather than working together as a community. But we're on Facebook working at that point. TikTok, also, they take all of your data. You look through the terms. They take all of your data. If you're using TikTok, do not complain about digital IDs in the future. You've already given your digital ID. It's another thing I swore against like 5-6 years ago. I was like, no more TikTok. I'm not downloading that shit ever again. And download it to my phone. Thing starts lagging out like hell. It's like that's the smoking gun. If you download an app and then your phone stops working right, that's a smoking gun. That app has so much malware on it, you have to get rid of it. You know, I swore against when we were getting Android phones with Facebook automatically loaded onto it. That was a red flag. I was like, I'm not going back on there. Anything that's automatically loaded to my phone and forced in front of my face, I'm like, goodbye. Bing. That's how everybody should be. That's what got us to this point, is that everybody decided, it's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. Those people got paid. Facebook got paid to automatically. Point is, you're complaining. When digital, you don't want that. No, yes, you did. That's what you chose. You picked that because there was other options. But you wanted to get laid, so you decided to go on Facebook. You wanted to get laid, so you went on TikTok. So you went on Instagram. You went into these places and you made accounts. And you ensured the future will have digital identity. So I just lean into it, accept it, and say, whatever, nothing we can do. Just as you did before all this happened. Nothing we could do. Well, if nothing that you can do, then be a fucking slave, be a fucking robot, and shut the fuck up. That's your mentality. Lay down your arms, accept what's happening, accept what's coming. I've held the line for about 8 years now. No Facebook. You know, my identity is taken by other things that actually pay me. You know, if I could have done WorldCoin, takes driving all the way to Miami in order to do it. If I go to Miami, wait there in a line, wait for potentially hours, and get a scan. You get a head scan as well as an iris scan. If I could have done that, I would have. I just couldn't. My vehicle was too down, overheating all the time. So I was like, I'm not going to go to Miami to where it's going to heat up the rest of the way. It's going to just blow up my fucking engine. Right now, I'm just watching ads on Atlas Earth. Like, even these things are really overpowered when it comes to taking your data. Like, I'm trying to watch a YouTube video, and then I open up Atlas Earth, and then it just shuts the YouTube video off. I'm just like, what? And I showed you guys that yesterday when I was on my live. I had my phone like sitting like this, and I was like letting you guys see what was going on. Now let's see what help and support said. Okay. list goes on. And when I left the game at complete achievements, as a loading circle saying please wait. It seems registered. Hello, welcome. So I ask about Cat's Eye and then Cat Dinosaur, welcome. Actually, I'll do this message later. We'll work on that later. What? Just traveled about a mile away and then a mile back. The Kai. What you need to be doing in the UK is way more. Like, everything that I said that needed to happen in this country. Everybody needs to be deputized for getting rid of the invaders. Simple as that. And what these stupid people in social media said was that let's deputize the invaders to go after citizens that are doing wrong and then give them citizenship for taking out the criminals that are here. I'm just thinking, I'm like, but these are fucking criminals to begin with. They broke into the fucking country to begin with. They've already committed the crime. Get them out. Don't play this game of if they find a criminal in your country, they go invade your country and then find something wrong that you did. That makes no sense. We're gonna just give them like citizenship for invading the country, and then that that brings us to No One Left Behind. I think the video was the movie was where other countries come in and they're like the commanders of the Civil War. I don't know if that's exactly how the movie went because I never watched it, but that was the description that was given to me, and it seemed realistic to what I had already kind of imagined, where other countries will control what happens in America by basically commanding citizens to do things. And you'll be paid to do so through an app, a task app like DoorDash, where you have like an overhead, you go to this position, you go to that position, you do this thing, you do that thing, and then you get paid. That's basically the future of agentic AI. Wow, how do they bring it to AI, right? Well, that's pretty much what's coming with AI, is you will have an agent, and this agent will tell you what to do, and you'll get paid for it. Universal basic income. If you're owned by Facebook, I mean, if you have an account on Facebook, or if you're owned by Facebook, pretty much, then you will have to listen to the agentic Meta AI. And no, you cannot reverse it. You can't just delete your account today and say, "I'm safe." No, they've already got your data. There was a point in time when the terms allowed for like a mass collection of data. If you had deleted your account, which I did, before these terms changed, then you're protected. It's been 8 years. You're no longer protected. You've already dug the bed. You've already laid out the bed. Sleep on it. Okay, it just reconnected. Why do what they say is because you need a paycheck. You need and go out and eat fish from the toxic lake. You know what I mean? Like, what would you rather do? Would you rather live off the land in the woods, or would you rather live in modernized society? That's the choice everybody has in the future. The AI will give you money for doing tasks. Without the AI and without the tasks, you do not make the money because the money is now in the hands of the ultra powerful AI companies. Yeah, I mean, everybody living off the land right now, you're more safe than most people. So you have the ability to go and live, off the land and continue living off the land. There's other problems with homesteading and prepping that I've explained before, is that you're not fully safe just because you've prepped. Your preps are basically as strong as what your neighbor's preps are. Because in the event that your neighbor doesn't have enough, they will come to your land and pillage your land. So understand that your community is incredibly important, more important than other things. But if your community is built on Facebook, then Facebook controls that community and therefore it becomes null and void. That's my point. Is that anything that's built on Facebook, anything that's built on these metadata collection apps is not your community. Unless you're speaking to each other in real life, unless you've got like walkie-talkie communication that's not controlled by these companies, your information, your traffic is collected and harvested and looked at by these moderators. If you want to know more, if you want to see proof of this, go to Valuetainment's channel, find the video on the Facebook whistleblower. He explains it. There's different levels to moderators, what access they have for information. It's already been proven through Twitter before Twitter was taken by Elon Musk. We didn't know. After it was taken by Elon Musk, WhatsApp users, your messages are looked at by moderators. These moderators know your life. It's not just the company itself. It's also these moderator gangs. They're gangs. They talk to each other. That's why you don't ever see you don't see people saying, bro, I'm a mod for Facebook, man. It's because they're secret societies at this point. Those people are running a whole gambit underneath the big company. So even if you think you're safe, hey man, I prepped. Did your neighbor prep? Did the village next door to you prep? They did not. Well, then your preps are now their gang when they come rushing in with 100 people. I got guns. Do you have enough bullets for 100 people? I don't know, bullets. Okay, can you reload your gun quick enough for 100 people rushing your property? No. Get your head out of your asses. I commend you. I'm very impressed. People that work off the land, that they live off the land. That's amazing. That's exactly the mentality that you need. But do not bank on your property, on your holdings to be there when shit hits the fan. Bank on exactly that mentality, that you live off the land and you do not need preps. That's the mentality that you need for what's coming. If you want to get off of the grid, if you don't want to listen to the AI telling you to take out your brother or your sister because the AI said so, and if you want your loaf of bread, then you're going to have to do it. That's the future. Because look at all the lazy people. Like, was it 70% or more of the entire economy in America is built on services alone. Once all those service jobs go away, which all it requires is lower production and manufacturing, then there's a lot of more people that don't have jobs be fighting for the same jobs. And that's pretty much what's happening. You look at the tech sector, tons and tons of layoffs for AI. Elon Musk is talking about high wage universal basic income. Why is he saying that? Because he knows that these tech company jobs are going. They're gone. It took a lot of people to build a website. It took only a few more people to build the processing for that, for the payments to use these websites. It didn't take that many people to start it from the beginning. And if you get enough agents that know how to do the job because you've trained them properly, then you don't need people to run these companies. You can make a Facebook today with just AI. You pay $20 to an AI, say, hey, I want an app like Facebook. Boom, it'll pop one out for you. And then you got to work with the security. You got to, do tweaks, make sure it's secure, and then you've got a Facebook. But the whole point is that, there's a bunch of communities that are built, evidently, considering that I'm not in a community. I'm a lone, solo fucking horse. I've been doing my own thing for a very long time. I don't see anyone trying to reach me where I'm at. Why? Because they already have a community. They already have people to talk to. You've already got your communities built, but where are they built? They can't be built in real life, because why the hell are you online? They must be built online. And if they're built online, then they're controlled by those places that you've decided to build that community in. It's good to get that information across. There's different goals. It's like right now there's people that are just trying to get information left and right, trying to send and receive information. That's different than building a community. And you have to make sure that you realize that just because you're getting information from somebody and you're exchanging information doesn't mean that that's community right now. You need to find people local to you. I love the customers that I deal with because, I can, they know me at this point. They can see me, they know me, they've seen me riding around on my bike everywhere. That's kind of the good thing about me being on a bike. They see me doing these jobs for them. But that doesn't go for the most of you. Most of you are not known. I'm known because I'm always on the road. There's people. The other day, somebody's yelling out their car, "I love you." I'm like, wow, like I'm like a star around town in a way. I can't say that for the general population. I'm more famous out there in real life than I am on here, even though I get hundreds of views per video. That's how you need to be. That's where you need to be at. Why do I keep wearing this? Well, at this point, it's become who I am in a way, because people can see, oh, he's got that bandana and he's got the orange shirt and he's got the long hair. Okay, we know that's a person. I'm recognizable at this point. Like, even when I was in my vehicle, people knew me. Man, I saw you all the way in Deltona. What the hell were you doing out there? I was out there working. Oh, man, that's cool. How'd you know it was me? Because of the bandana. So I'm recognizable. I've been seen for, at least within around 100 miles radius of me. I've been seen everywhere. That doesn't go for most people. People have seen me in real life. People are seeing you online. They don't know what you're really about. Now, that's where I get this weird, confusion with my audience, is that they don't know whether or not I'm important. Does it matter? Or what I'm saying, is that important? To notice that your phone works just fine, and then one day it's like, hey, get this update. And I'm like, what? Why? My phone's running perfectly fine without the update. Watch me get the update and watch my phone start fucking up again. And I'll give you guys, feedback on that once I've actually done that. I gotta take a shower. It smells so bad. See, to make the big change is to literally call these big companies out for allowing the algorithm to continue doing what it's doing. You know, what's interesting? The contrast between these huge companies writing code and then a 3D printing company writing code. Huge contrast. Like, look what they're trying to do. They're trying to ban certain code. They're trying to ban Mythos, Fable. They're banning code. I thought that was like a no go. I thought you couldn't ban code. Section 230. What happened to that? So Section 230 applies to these huge companies that have stolen all of our data and stolen all of our chicks and stolen all of our market. But it doesn't apply to somebody who's just trying to build products and innovate. Oh, that's a nice cover on it. It's rare to find nice covers for these songs. I just made this one, so I don't know what this one sounds like yet. Okay, that's Oriental. Chinese. Whoa. Yeah, your preps are only as strong as what your neighbor's preps are. You can't defend your whole house from 100 people trying to rush it. And that's how many people, if not more, that are going to be actively trying to do this stuff. Because you got to imagine, how many people are stuck in the cities? How much food is in the cities? How many people are growing in the cities? No one. All those people will come bum rushing your house. In America, you're not allowed to booby trap your house. It's going to be a long version. So. cover that looks like Skyblades of the on there. So I made a new song on that. I don't know if it's any good. It's taking too long to get into the actual song. It's alright, but it's not epic. This might be. Alright. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm not sure you guys might tell. It looks so weird. So, viewer discretion advised. So, this right here, like, it looks okay now. This is like after 4 days. Still bruised. 5 days now? Learning how to do this with just basic wire. Like I bent that from a straight piece of wire. I was able to bend that. You can see it's not a perfect circle, but it's close enough. But knowing how to do that stuff, it's important. But if your neighbor doesn't know how to do it, that's okay, because this is, something you can make easy. But if they don't know how to farm, and you know what I mean, like there's different skills that you don't need to pass on. There's different skills that you do need to pass on. It's in people's best interest to pass on those skills to people. Yeah, I might just go on Instagram. But that's how you want it. You want to be more famous in real life than you are online. I'm gonna watch an ad. It's likely gonna turn my music off. Yeah. I've been watching Breakfast with Bo on the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. Now understand this whole ID thing, this digital ID thing, it needs to happen only because of exactly what they've been. Keir Starmer has one good point, and one good point only. He wants it so that people that are foreigners that are trying to work in the UK cannot do that work because they don't have the ID that shows that they can do that work. That's the good point that Keir Starmer has. And to do that, they would need to make a digital identity. So that's his point. And it makes sense. It's the only path to fixing any of this. The problem is who will dictate, who will do the processing for the people that will be known as citizens and who won't be known as citizens. If you're digitally barred access, there's a huge problem with this system, is that you could be barred access on a code, and that code may not be recognized by the public as malicious or not, and therefore you'll just be considered to be like a foreigner or not a foreigner, and they might decide to make all the forwarders non-foreigners so they could switch your identity just through a code. The possibilities are endless. So I got 4 more days until I get 2 parcels for free. I got 863, almost 864 parcels, and at 870 I have to stop buying parcels because my rent boost will go down one. It'll throttle it down one. Ooh, that looks bad. The more I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh. the people that will do the best in the future with like barely any skills out of like the weak, the fresh minds, the fresh people, is those who are geologists and material scientists in a survival situation. This is a new generation. Damn, that sounds good so far. Battle music, maybe? My birthday's coming up in a few days. Short on that. That one was too short. That was like, which one was that? See what that produces. So my point is that it doesn't matter how much you prep, doesn't matter how much you do, it's not going to be enough. like those at this point. Too much Oriental. But I can't tell if that's Japanese. But it's too Oriental. That's what I keep saying about community. Community is going to be more important than just prepping. You know, you're only as prepped as your neighbor is. See, it's an imperfect circle. It's not good enough. Mm.
Pretty good.
These are easy to make. That was so much weight. This was like the whole concept was to protect the pattern, so that when this thing was like moving downward, it like hit through this, and then I want it to convert and go back that way. The concept is sound. This is a coin bag that I'm trying to make. The idea is to be like super strong. Maybe shaped like that. And I get this super special material. Very strong. Yet delicate. I don't know what this material is, but I can use this if I want. Start with a patch like that. Use the rest of this and piece the rest of it together. But yeah, this is going to be a really strong coin bag. I'm going to use the tread of a tire at the bottom. So it's all done. Step one with the boot. And I'm thinking about making it triangular, but I'm not sure. It'll just have a lot of room for things there. And I got a zipper for it too. That's something I'm trying to design is a really nice coin bag. Something to use easy. Because I think the future is going to be metal and coins and precious small like components and stuff like that. Because like stuff like this, this is useful. So this is useful for plenty of things, but if you don't know how to make it already, then it's going to take you an extra hour to kind of dig your head around it while you're trying to keep a farm going, keep the fire going. There's all these things you got to do in survival situations, so you don't have time to tinker around like that. Right now is the time to tinker and learn survival. That's what people don't realize. Most people don't realize. They think of survival as something extra to do. It's extra to do right now. It's an entirely different task when you're trying to actually survive, because you have to give up time that you've spent surviving, keeping up on the farm, keeping up on the firewood, keeping up on the fire, keeping up on the building, keeping up on the pests, keeping up on everything, while you're trying to design a new bag, while you're trying to design something in metal, some kind of tool. That's why it took so many thousands of years for people to develop what we have today. That's why people like Graham Hancock and others say that there's no way that survivability wasn't super high in order for them to build those megalithic structures with huge amounts of stone, huge size stones, perfectly placed. To build the pyramids, you'd need civilization already. It's kind of a smoking gun to see a pyramid and to date it to like 4500 BC. That's an insane, that's right at the cradle of civilization. There had to be a fully developed civilization before they could be doing that. Fully developed understanding of the tools. I survived dodging the bears creeping around my woods daily. Well, at some point you're going to have humans creeping around the woods daily. That's the whole thing is, and then there's not going to be any bears around. There's just going to be humans. That's when it gets dangerous. But stuff like this size, you're going to want to be able to carry around. That's why I came up with just a basic bag like this. The stitches, they're inside the bag, so people can't just like pull apart the bag. If you like sewed it all together, they're going to be sewed from the inside with like some kind of a clasp that would be like a lock. There would be a lock on that. Well, the pew pews, you say, guns, people that have accumulated guns, they think that they're safe, but okay, you're safe against one person, maybe 5 people. Are you safe against 100 people? Are you safe against an entire village of people? So I mean, you're not prepped to go against an army, and that's what will end up coming. It's not going to be just a few stragglers in the woods. You know what I mean? when shit actually hits the fan. For now, you're safe. Awesome. But you're only, I've been saying it earlier in the videos, you're only as prepped as your neighbor. Because if they need something and you have it, yeah, but it's not going to keep you safe from an army that also has weapons. That's my point, is that there's other ways to protect yourself, and that's by just knowing how to survive. So you can choose to leave the home under an invasion and still survive and come back and fight the fight. This is Suno. Oh yeah, there's lots of ways we are prepared. So if you're prepared and you're not using walkie-talkies, then you're not prepared. If you're prepared to the max, you've got an entire community built, that's a different story. But how many people are actually prepared for that? If you're prepared, then you're prepared, but you've thought of everything. But if you're thinking that you're just prepared a little bit, that you thought of everything, but you haven't, no. I know I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared at all. I wish I was. I can tell you this: I'm only as prepared as my neighbor is, and if I have something that my neighbor doesn't have, then that's an issue. Well, if you were born in the 70s and you're like over 50, and it's not. The only people who are going to survive this are people that are young. Can you run 5 straight miles? No. This isn't Hollywood. Dude, you need to be able to also run. Then if you have sons, then you need to be prepared to, basically have your sons back. Because that's the next of kin. That's your next generation. Just like the whole purpose of life, to pass on the seed. So think selflessly and towards your family, as you probably already do. But understand that, nobody over 50 is going to survive this whole transition. I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that feel confident, but stupid. You might be fine, but that's not most people. So my message is, this isn't to you. This is whoever's not prepared. Like, I got a busted foot now. So I already had a busted back. It's been like 5 days waiting for this to like truly heal, and it's just, I don't think it's going to heal the way I need it to. Try something else. It's a lot better than it was, though. No, I'm talking about the fact that it doesn't matter, you know, what age you are. I mean, what who will be the targets in the future? First of all, who are the first targets? Who are the first demographics of targets when shit hits the fan? And I give you a second just to, give me an answer on that. When people go start rounding up other people, who are the first to be targeted? Women. Second, children. But not really, because the children is, in that situation, you look at the 1930s, 1920s, they're wild, like wild animals. So, um, really, second is actually elderly. So, you get the people want the women because the women can procreate and, they'll just chill at the house and cook and clean, and they'll want to stay out of harm's way so they'll be a good housekeeper. Um, that's why people will go around round up the women, not round them up like throw the bolus them and shit. Talking about just collecting them into your community. And second is elderly, but the elderly generally don't want to get wrapped up into that because people like yourself, you understand, you have that mentality of I got my own, we're good to go. Now the women are easy to, they're agree, they're like easier to agree. They'll agree with coming along with you more so than an elderly person. But in the future, well, not in the future, just when his shit hits the fan, the way that it works is it won't be a choice. It won't be optional in many cases. And so the elderly will just be robbed and, torched and robbed and all that stuff. That's what ends up happening to the older generation. It's not because of, oh, are you capable of surviving? It's about, are you a target or are you not? Because targets have less defenses than non-targets. You know what I'm saying? Like the chances of when you're shooting a bow at a target, there's a less chance of the woods, this random tree over here getting hit than the actual target. So the target it has less defense because people are shooting for that. That's what ends up happening in, that's why I'm saying if you're over 50, you're going to be overtaken at some point by the next generation. You can't run faster than the track meet star. You see younger people, they can continue running. You're going to get gassed out at some point. They're not. On top of the fact that they have actually built stronger community because they're younger, because they were just in school, because whatever the case, maybe they're still in school, they have a stronger real life community than you do and any of us do. So organized animals will overtake the older generation after the women, so the women become the first target and automatically the weakest. They have the less defenses because they're the target. It's not because they're weak, it's because they're the target. It's the whole thing with like the social media and everything. Social media has targeted women. So women have become the weakest and the most, just giving up everything to the internet, to social media. Let's see. And then it becomes survival of the fittest beyond that. That's when, if you've survived both of those cycles, then you have a chance. But you still got to imagine, like, there's a lot of people that say, I got a fishing rod. If shit hits the fan, I can go fish. There's a lot of people saying that. So you're going to have like, 2,000 people trying to fish in the same spot. That doesn't work. Do you see the problem? You have 2,000, 10,000 people all shooting and hunting in the same woods. That doesn't work. When shit hits the fan, you better have stockpiles as well as the knowledge to be able to run. Yeah, you have a few ponds, but those ponds become other people's ponds as well. It becomes tribal shit, bro. Like you got to understand, you do not have a centralized government at that point. And in today's society, most people don't have farms. Most people don't have manufacturing, the tools to actually manufacture and the know-how to do that. You don't. There's a lot of stuff that didn't exist, that doesn't exist, that did exist in the 1930s during the last Great Depression. That Great Depression, people had farms. People had even, workshops where they could process lumber, where they could process things. And you don't, like, you may have that, but does your neighbor? Or does the person away from your neighbor have that? Look at how many communities, all these temporary housing kind of places, these really tiny houses, how many tools do they have? How many of those tools require electricity to run? You got to understand, we're at a different time. You would have survived just fine in the 1930s during the Great Depression because you have the know-how. But in today's society, you're going to have to be a little bit sort of hybrid about it. You're going to have to be nomadic as well as prepared, holding a stockpile, but you have to be ready to, like, you better have that stockpile completely hidden. I see some preppers that are like, bro, yeah, that's my bomb shelter. Like, why are you showing people where that is? Don't do that. Yeah, that's great. No, I'm not saying your situation might be fine, but most people need to understand that you're probably not prepared. And like, if they're not prepared, then it leads to more chaos. You're not gonna be able to be fishing in a lake. You might have 3 ponds, but unless you have an army of 3,000 to go and patrol your property at all times, that's not just your pond. There's going to be thousands of people, no, actually millions of people pouring out of cities. That's just millions of people in the cities, let alone the cul-de-sacs where people don't actually have these tools at all because they're just living their best life in $500,000 houses. We're talking about if the electric grid goes down tomorrow in the cities and it takes more than 5 days to get power back to that city, and then it happens again just after that, that's it. No more city. Everybody's getting out of there. Those people go to the countryside where these people think that they're safe because they've homesteaded and done their thing. The only thing that's protecting them right now from somebody just walking down the driveway instead of going straight down the main road, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars going down these roads. That's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that decided not to go to your land because it's illegal to do it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's protected by the law right now. Once the law and order breaks down completely, that's it. What I was seeing in a broadcast recently, one of these preppers was talking about how the 911 emergency, the phone number wasn't working, and apparently they couldn't get access to it. So basically, for a time, that service wasn't accessible. I never leave home without my American Express. I get what you're saying. Yeah, like, the whole thing is, though, like, just understand that when shit hits the fan, don't get emotional about it. Don't panic. That's it. Don't panic. You got to be prepared. We got years until this happens. This isn't happening tomorrow. This will happen, what I think is by the year 2034. So 2032, 2034, that's when we're going to see a true decline in America. That's when all the resources ran out. Because you got to think of it, great, AI, make stuff, make stuff, make stuff quickly, easily, cheaper, and sell it to people, right, for cheaper or even free. But what do these people need it for? You know, if I didn't have to work on my bike, if I didn't have to work on little, trinkets and stuff that I enjoy doing, I'm already doing it because I like to do it. I like to have a tool, then I wouldn't necessarily have this tool. And there's a lot of people that are in that situation. They don't even have this fucking tool. They don't even have pliers. The most basic thing that you need to find a pair of channel locks. Like, people don't have this, but this is so useful. But it's because they don't need it for anything. I need it because I want it. Like, I started doing leather work and all that stuff, working on my car. Well, I'm talking about hobby stuff. People doing stuff as a hobby, it gets tools in their hands. So they'll hold on to something like this because they're thinking survivability. I want a flask, but it's got to be something I can clean out easy. And, I need to modify this. But the whole point is that I'm thinking about actually surviving. There's other people that are not. So at some point soon, I'm getting a voltage meter. I'm going to start playing with electricity. We all have at least 3 to 4 PVC cutters, right? I don't. I have a hacksaw. Like, I don't even have a hacksaw. I have a hacksaw blade. Nope. Nothing more satisfying than building yourself, right? That's really what it's about too. Like, that's as a hobby, but at some point, I'm putting myself in the position of, in my brain, I'm like, what happens when I don't have access to this? No matter what, doesn't matter which way things go, I'm not going to have access to this. Well, I'm going to have to make it. A good example is this, right? And also, I'm going to have to make sure it works. So I ended up getting this in a survival kit. One of my family members gave me this in a survival kit. This thing does not work reliably. And the compass doesn't work reliably. It has difficulty pointing north. But imagine going out thinking that, oh, it works fine. And then you get out into the woods and you're like trying to use your compass and you're like, what? But it just said north was this way. And then you're lost. So you also have to be testing your stuff. And that's what I mean by, like, there's people that, even if they do have the tools, even if they are homesteading, are they actively using them and actively going out? Like, if you're a combat vet, you have to know these skills because that's part of the training. I didn't, I'm not a combat vet or anything. It's just, I made it my life to just be as efficient and know everything that I possibly can. Combat vet means that you can get lost in the woods, and you needed to learn how to live in those woods with the rations you have and how to get help and how to, there's ways, there's things that people that go to the military are automatically expected to understand. But most people are not going into the military. I didn't have to go to the military to know that, all right, if I want to be out in the woods and have a good time, then I want to be able to survive out in those woods just in case I get lost. Just a natural instinct. In the context of shit hitting the fan. Yeah, it's the shit hitting the fan. Like, right, but at the same time, though, we have, like, until 2032, that's my opinion, before people start throwing away their phones. It's going to be 2029. That's when AI takes over, and then I was thinking from a homeowner's perspective when you're breaking out the tools. I'm new here. Yeah, I'm talking about survival, bro. Like, the thing is right now, like, everybody's got it really good and they're not preparing. And, like, they got it so good that they're on a phone making money complaining about how good they got it. Or no, complaining about how good somebody else has it. Like Elon Musk, give us $5 billion, bro. There's been more money wasted on the foreign invasion into our countries to foreigners than just $5 billion, bro. This is going in the tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions. It's insane, dude. You know, but that's what people are complaining about, and they're making money on it because it's hype content. It's politically divisive. Now you can see where the attack's really coming from, right? Red, I'm trying to get him to try survival out here in my woods, but he ain't going for it. What do you mean? I can't go anywhere, dude. I don't got money. Bro, I have a bike. I have an e-bike. I can go 20 miles on it. I'm in Florida. Go try it out in your woods. Dude, I couldn't even try it out in my woods or I'd die because I don't have anything. What I'm saying is that I'm not prepared. But there's so many more people that are not prepared. And I'm looking around and I'm like, people are like awfully comfortable riding around in their box vehicles that they don't fully own. Like, until you've paid that off, you don't necessarily own it. So yeah, an e-bike is too heavy. He said he's got an e-bike that's too heavy, and that probably cuts back on the speed, doesn't it? That's because you got the same thing that I got right now. It's a cheap, like Temu kind of, not really Temu in a way, but like it's just one of those big frames. Just doesn't have the motor capacity that it really should for its size. What I did was I grabbed a bike, put a motor on it, and just a regular bike, and I put a motor on it with a huge battery, and I'll show you. Give me a minute. So give me a minute. I'll show you where that goes. Volt battery, 28 pounds, that rests on top of here. And this is the bike that I had it on. 29-inch rim. That was the motor that I had on this thing. And these forks are a different size because these have exploded 2 times. Because I got hit. So when I got hit by vehicles, it was on this thing. I was all the way up 29 inches and I got slammed, thrown off. Now notice, I had to get really, really creative with this to make sure that the stem won't bend from all that pressure. So this basically used framing mentality. We have a rubber piece right here protecting from shock, but it's not connected to here. You know, that isn't connected to here because dual suspension. See what I mean? This thing would be bouncing and stuff. So I had to really, really get technical. Like that's, you got wires running through there, stuff. Or there, actually, that's my old setup. This is what I had to do to keep 28 pounds on the back of here. So this could handle bouncing 28 pounds. But I don't have the money to fix either get a brand new controller, or I don't know if it's the battery. I'm going to get a voltage meter soon. It's a long time coming. I've been stuck with that other bike. This bike with that motor, with that battery capacity, it used to, brand new, used to get me 100 miles. Going like 40 miles per hour, fucking regular. You could get that thing up to 55 miles per hour. Thankfully, I didn't get hit while I was going that fast. This thing's getting around 45 miles per hour, but it only gets me around 20 miles, going around like maybe an average of 37 miles per hour. So it's only getting me a maximum of 20 miles. But that's what that's my dilemma, is that I'm stuck dealing with like inefficient tools. Like this is a beautiful bike. This was brand new. It's just the frame's too heavy. It's exactly what you said. It's too heavy. So what I was trying to make a point of is that I used a bike that wasn't that heavy with that amount of power with one motor. Yeah, yours is like one of those cheap team ones. No offense. This is an expensive one. This goes 45 miles per hour. About the max I've hit is 48 miles. 48 miles per hour. But like I was saying, is like this frame is too heavy. The other one, it's not as heavy, so the thing would go faster. Go 55 to 29-inch rims. So we had a big 28-pound battery, about that big, sitting on the back of that bike. Damn, that's not bad. $600 for one that goes like 40 miles, 28 miles per hour. That's cheap. So you might have got that on a deal. But yeah, this one's like really nice. But it just doesn't, it only gets you about 20 miles. Like I can get about 35 miles out of it if I'm going slow. But it's like too slow. And it's like if the slower that I go, the more of a chance using this to commute with, the more of a chance the slower you go, the more of a chance of a flat tire. Why? Because you're off of the main road more often. So I have to work out to be faster on the road during my runs. I got to make sure that I'm going as fast as I can to get to the destination. That's why I'll like sit here and wait a good amount of time too. It is too much. That's why using that, like I'll show you this motor a little better. This thing is heavy. Fucking rim's strong though. It's a thin rim. But this has a bend in it, so it wrecks the tread more. So the motor is heavy, but the motor is already on the ground. So that's like barely effective. The whole thing, like it's like all the weight is in the actual motor. And that's what's pushing the thing forward. So it's going 2,500 watts going. So it does better than two motors. Like this one, this bike that I'm using now is two motors, but it's got so much freaking weight on it. Like gas is really the way to go, but you have to you need good tools. But that's why I grabbed a frame, dude. Look at this. I found a frame on the side of the road, and it's set up to do gas. It would definitely take some money to do it, but this could do gas. It's got the right connectors. Like this used to be an electric bike, but like this is about the weight of the frame that you want. Like you don't want anything heavier than that. You know? But it's got it's got a pad for that. It's got the room for the motor in the front. I don't know. It's just all money, and I need tools. And I wish I could use gas because, yep, you just get fill up. That's sweet. Yeah, the situation that I'm dealing with is the fact that it takes 6 hours to charge a battery. So it's like if I had two batteries, I could be working while once I could have like 40 miles. That would actually get me about what I was making on the bike when the battery got hit and damaged. Because so the 100 miles, that was the old version of that good battery, but I got hit, so now the battery is kind of not as good. 35 to 60 miles, like, depending on how much power I'm using on it. But that was a while ago. That was before the controller broke or the MOSFET inside of the battery, which I don't know what the hell that means. It's just AI guided me through it. I'll find out once I get the voltage meter. That's my next purchase. I'm either going to find a cheap one or just a regular, just a $20 one. It's almost time to turn my dash on. My battery's almost fully charged. I'll start dashing soon. But I've got some pretty interesting tools. So if you don't have one of these, you need to get one. You need to get a manual drill. Adjustable socket wrench. Yeah, it works deep. Like, just getting these kinds of tools is incredibly important because you'll be able to adjust to any scenario. If you don't got one of these, get one of these. Tiny screwdriver. Get like 15 Phillips heads. No. Get 100 Phillips heads. If you can afford it, get 100 Phillips head screwdrivers, just the same fucking size, literally. Then get 100 of the fat head ones. Then get like 100 of the small ones. That's how you need to prepare. That's how prepared you need to be. You need to be prepared for 5 to 10 to 20 years. If you're rich and you don't have 100 Phillips head screwdrivers, you're not doing it right. Yeah, you're in the frozen area. That's actually in states. Is the same problem that we deal with, like the homeless people, is that basically they can live outside in the winter. They don't have to change their routine whatsoever. In northern territories, they got to change their routine all the time. That's why you find them living on benches and stuff. So when homeless people in the southern states and the warm states, when the southern people go homeless, they're living out in the woods, dude. In the woods in plain view too. They're watching you. They're weirdos. Okay? You go to a major city, you're being watched by homeless people. That's why I'm saying, like, you got, people that are rich, you got, like, you're on borrowed time at this point because everybody's being watched. It's like the female network, like the females talk blah blah blah, blah behind everybody's backs, and they like form like social profiles for that person or whatever. Same shit happens with the homeless population. I don't know if you knew that, but they can't do anything. That's why you're not seeing any consequence. The dudes don't really, like, I don't, dude. Most of the dudes are like independent, like a strong dude like myself. I do not care about drama. I don't talk about people creates profiles on people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who the hell you are. Most of the time, if I'm at a party, I might forget your name 3 times. I might remember what we talked about. Definitely would remember what we talked about, but am I gonna remember your name? No, I'm bad with that actually. I don't see them doing drama to me. I don't see that. What I see is foreigners doing that kind of stuff and making it look like Westerners are like that. See, there's a lot of foreign influence, Eastern influence, China, Pakistan, you got India even. You got these Eastern countries that have infiltrated the West, and they've basically just shook everything up. And there's a battle between like what's in view right now, what we're talking about from like the perspective that we're dealing with like three different groups in this case. So the new gen pop culture, like elite control, that mechanism with the music industry and everything, that mechanism still has a hand. They're the ones that are controlling like the algorithm and everything. And then you got the old world kind of elite Rothschilds and George Soros and all this great wealth in that area is dwindling. It's getting next inherit that wealth, so they'll have that control of the industry. Um, they're taking that control, like the climate change grifts and all that stuff. That's who will be the next people in charge of that. Is the Sam Altmans and the AI runners, Anthropic. That's basically what's happening, and they're also taking over that industry for music too because of AI generated music. AI is taking over everything silently. So this whole movement of wealth and everything, but it never mattered to the Amish. All this stuff, all this drama crap, never mattered to the Amish because they can make their own shit. That's a good point that a few people have made, but it's like it's a strong point. Never affected them. They just do their thing. That's awesome. I don't wander around YouTube. I don't deal with that. I don't deal with drama. The whole thing is with this channel is to like I told you so. If anything, it's like later on, the Amish are horrible animal abusers. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I've never even heard anything like that before. That's the first time I've ever heard that sort of a correlation. Pretty sure they got wives. Like, what do you mean abuse? Like, anyways, you see milk going up in price? That's interesting. It's across the entire country. Milk went up in price. I think they looked at the smaller gallons and they were like, you know what? We've we've we rose the price. We kept the price so high on a half gallon of milk that now we can say a full gallon of milk is worth this much more. So they've raised prices. It's insane on milk. Big shortages or something. There shouldn't be shortages on anything. If we're making stuff for quicker and cheaper and we're getting better at it, we're producing more of it, things should be getting cheaper. Now you do. Missouri has no laws. They breed dogs. They don't sell them. They dump them. Yeah. Well, I know in Missouri there's like all kinds of stuff that happens that just doesn't get seen. It's like under the radar, but that's just like backcountry shit. It doesn't apply to me. That stuff wouldn't be happening if basically people would try to actually work with each other and get along. Like, I don't know, man. I think AI is going to fix it because we're going to be able to spot through AI. It's easy to spot evil. Humans, it's hard to spot evil. You can spot goodness, but it's hard to spot evil. The AI systems can spot evil better than us. So, that sounds like the Middle East. So apparently they're doing like wet markets. But it's easy for humans to spot goodness. And what was it? I saw somebody that went to a certain country and they said that they were allowing God to steer them and to go find those in need, those who require help. The thing about it is if you're seeking to go and help, your like intention has to be to actually be helpful. And then when you realize, oh well, how do I be the most helpful, it takes a bigger answer, right? That's why we're not supposed to necessarily do that. We're supposed to spot that which can be helped easily and then help. So something like keeping the door open for someone, something like that is incredibly helpful, and that's just a random thing. You didn't have to do it, but you did it because it was easy. Why not hold the door open a couple extra, few seconds for someone? Doesn't matter who they are. Remember, there was an era where dudes were like, "Oh, I saw this chick and she was really hot, and I just didn't hold the door open for her." Like, that's not cool. Like that's what seems to be people's mentality, though, that they want to pick and choose the goodness that they put out in the world and the help that they offer. They want to be like, sort of like, when you see an opportunity that you can do it, just do it. Just be nice. It's not hard. I think if everybody was like that, then there'd be kindness. Everybody would be like automatically kind. We wouldn't have to put laws and shit. Like they want to. What is it? I don't know, but AI is going to be able to fix it anyways. So it's not going to be. It's going to be out of our hands at some point. The social structure of everything, it's going to be out of our hands. AI is going to do it. It's going to be all based on robots. Like you're not going to have a human being rating you. You're going to have a robot rating you. You think there's going to be human interaction in the future? No. Saw that myself when I asked why you don't use another cage. It's how we do things. It's done. Well, that's animal cruelty, and then therefore, you're supposed to report that to the FBI and stuff. You're supposed to report that to federal agencies. So if you see that kind of mistreatment, take a picture of it and report that. That's insane. That's what you need to do. And if you've already reported it, it's like you can't just keep trying to be a vigilante or something. But you do got to speak up. The reason why nothing's done in this country is because people don't speak up about the actual atrocities going on. They want to nitpick about the little shit that doesn't even matter. How can pick cult battles with people? They were showing it's good. My old man gets up and gets the door for folks during dinner. Yeah, and it makes him feel good. It makes you, like what you were saying is, um, when you make it yourself, it's the best. It's like the same thing. You do things that are fulfilling, that are helpful. It just kind of helps you at the end of the day. But have you thought about focusing on positive things, not gloom and doom, as opposed to what? Because the gloom and doom is just reality of life. You got to understand. You got to be pessimistic like that. I'm in a state of joy compared to where I was at. Bro, I've almost died fucking 3 times already. It's so stupid. I keep getting smacked up by the world. That's what I'm trying to call out here. I've live streamed what's happened. What? I broke my dude 5 days ago. My toe was cracked in half. It fucking smashed my knuckle, cracked in half. I couldn't walk for the last 4 days. For 4 days until just like maybe today I'm starting to walk a little bit more normal. And why did it happen? Because somebody else didn't do their job properly. They left a cone sitting out. They left a strip of cones in an unlit area of the road at the side of the road. So one of them it was felled over into the road, and I didn't see it immediately because my headlight on my bike is limited, but it was an unlit section of the road. At night, you couldn't see it unless you had your head beams like all the way down the road and blaring in people's faces. So I have sandals on, so my foot was between like the cone, the bottom of the cone that was flipped over, and the pedal itself. I was going 45 miles per hour. It went slam, and it grabbed my fucking toe and pulled it down, and it was bad, dude. And I didn't, um, yeah, I didn't freak out. I actually completed my order. I went and I completed my job. What did I do the next day? I went back to work. That's how you have to be. You keep forward. But the whole time, I'm like, I can't stand on this thing. It felt like the two knuckles, like one knuckle was pushing down on top of the other knuckle, and it was like pressure. It was like I could not walk. It was so bad. Now I'm able to kind of walk, and I feel a little bit of pressure, but yeah, you gotta have faith in God. The only thing that pulled me through that was praying to God and having faith in God, that God wouldn't want me to be, crippled. That's what it was. No. Thank God. But I hit that thing. It was like it smushed my fucking knuckle and everything. It was like bad, dude. Like so as I was going, I moved my toe a little bit more. I didn't stop, dude. I think I stopped for a moment, took a video of the thing real quick, and I went back to, right across the street where I was going to pick the thing up. So I was almost at the place, and that's when it happened. And I opened my foot a little bit, went like a huge crack, like a pop, and I knew what happened. Like the thing's still like, you know. Well, you gotta. I worked as a server. Gave birth and was back. Okay, I think you're a lady after 2 weeks. No work, no money. It's simple. What do you mean? Oh, I think I might have lost the narrative on what you were talking about, but it's fine. So I'm going to turn my dash on. 7 o'clock, I believe. Yeah. Dash on. But my point is that most people are not ready. And in the UK, what they're talking about is digital ID. Digital ID is coming. Oh, wow. Stimulate my economy. Go make a DoorDash order. Gift somebody a DoorDash in this area. Hell yeah. Y'all want to help me? Gift a family member a DoorDash right now in my immediate area. You can figure it out where I'm at. Have a good day. Yeah, I didn't check myself into an ICU. I went and I didn't go to the hospital for this. I just healed it up. I stented it. So I took a sock and I weaved it around my toe to push it downward, and at the same time I had the toe wrapped so it would stay straight. And so I think I did everything 100% right. So yeah, I took care of it myself. I didn't go to the hospital. Fuck that, man. I'm not paying $300, $400 and then, oh, sorry, we can't help you. You need to go see an orthopedist. And then go spend $1,000 there somehow that I don't have. Didn't have the 400, still don't have the 1,000. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm good. I'll figure it out myself. And I did. That's what I'm saying about like this whole thing with like the invasion. Like all the money is just going to invaders. I don't even use the hospital most of the time. I break a fucking toe, I don't go to the hospital. Why am I paying for an invader to go and live in a nice house and stuff? They're getting free housing, loans for cars, free healthcare, free all kinds of shit, man. They're a refugee though. They have economic hardship. I got economic hardship. Where's my fucking help? You know? That's why it's like get the fucking invaders out. Get them out. I don't even use that fucking help. I don't even, it's insane. I get 0% of the same amount of help as these invaders get while they're in this country. Get the fuck out. I ain't the one breaking your taxes. I ain't the one breaking that bank. You know what I mean? You got invaders in this fucking country that need to get the fuck out. They're the ones breaking this bank. We don't need to be taxing people this much. I'm zero tolerance for illegal immigration, but even zero tolerance at this point, now since this changeover, H-1Bs get the fuck out. If you're a legal immigrant and you're DACA, get the fuck out. DACA, get the fuck out. You're young enough apparently to hold a job and to build your nation now. It's time for you to go and build your nation. You got enough money. You got everything you need. I don't got what I fucking need. I'd like to go and build. I'd like to go and build a nation on a little plot of land somewhere, but I don't got that. How do we rise up against the government to stop them from trying to destroy our country? We need to keep speaking up like this. The more grassroots that we get and understanding to deal with each other's differences. Here's the thing is that most of these politics, all these, political agendas and stuff, they never applied in the past because we were economic kind of situation when it came to culture. What we did on our own property, on our own land, in our own kingdom was our business. Don't break, don't infringe on other people's civil rights is a very basic thing. You're out in public, don't break people's civil rights, don't fuck with people. That's not hard. You know what I mean? Just let's do some business. That's what it's supposed to be about. We need to build that community. And so we need to start also, maybe in a way, telling each other what we need. What do people need? What does somebody want me to make them a bunch of these or something, little clips? I can make this by hand. There's things that I can do. We need to start building our own economies. We need to build our own manufacturing industry as well. We need to off the grid. Fuck the government, dude. We didn't need the government to begin with. It was an extra thing. We shouldn't be taxed still. Well, the thing about it is we can still do sales tax. Income tax should never be a thing for citizens. Income tax for foreigners, yeah. You're here working here, you know what I mean? Like if you're here legally working here, I can't do much about the H-1Bs, but I'd like to see them out. If you're gonna be working here, you better be fucking getting taxed on everything. You better be taxed triple, double. You know what I mean? Tariff that shit. Um, but there's ways to fix this. Make me president. I'll fix it. I have ways to fix it. I have ideas that just make sense. It's like for the first thing that I would do, well, I don't want to say the first thing exactly because there'd be like multiple things that would need to be done at the same time. But basically, I'd take away income tax. How are you being disciplined for working? That money's going to be spent and it's going to be taxed at some point, right? And it doesn't matter even if you did an exchange, like a physical exchange with somebody, and it didn't get taxed. That person's going to end up one day, interacting, and that's going to be taxed. We're already taxed on things enough. You go and you fix a couch and you go sell it, you're getting taxed. It was already taxed though. So that would be like the first thing. Income tax gone for citizens. Anybody here working that's not a citizen, tax the fuck out of them. All right. Second, what would I do? Well, I would definitely put a lot of funding into farming and I would decentralize that farming. So I would incentivize people to grow farms on their own property. I would put so much money into it too. Hey, how you doing, Chris? Welcome. Um, fertilizers We got manure. We just need to boost manure production. That's not hard. We don't need to be getting it from petroleum products and stuff. Like apparently we're getting it overseas. Like why are we getting chemicals from overseas? We can make it right here. Nitrogen is something that's a natural process. Getting rid of every single foreigner, continue that process. Make sure that everything that's been going on, keep Tom Homan in there, keep Stephen Miller in there, keep the people that are strong for America first, getting these people that are not here legally to get the fuck out. That'd be like strong hard point. But that would already be in the works. But we need to decentralize beyond that. Trump, me, anyone isn't the end fix for anything. It's not the end solution. One person isn't going to solve everything. It's going to take decentralized mentality and maybe even bringing back the church. So that sounds crazy, right? Bring back the church, more control. Well, is that better than decentralized, just everybody is just a bunch of anarchists and atheists and stuff? We don't really need that. We don't really want that. I would make the 10 Commandments law, but I would want to kind of be more specific about the non things before marriage, because that's not really what the one about adultery stands for. And that's what puts off a lot of people, because they're like, how do we procreate? What are we just not supposed to do things? Until it's like that needs to be like recalibrated a little bit. But besides that, I think it just really applies to everything that we need to know. We don't need to make things complicated. True conservatism is to make things less complicated. Stricter regulations, but less number of them. That thing is still pretty bruised. Yeah, we could pretty much remove all taxes right now and just we'd be fine at this point, except for like funding the police station and like imagine it that we're just giving more, like we're going into debt to fund the federal government no matter what. That's already happening. And all we're doing is just removing citizens' wealth. We need to be taxing the people that are here illegally. We need to be tariffing things and remove income tax from regular just citizens. I think that would solve everything. I don't want to go there. It wants me to go to like this bagel shop. Well, it's not giving me an order, but it's like it says that that's a hot spot. I do not want to go to that place. Wait 1 second. Oh, no, I do want to go to that place. I can order for that place. That'd be sweet. I'm a little tired. Basically, I'm just gonna go dash and stuff, and eventually, like, when I'll be shutting this off anyway. So I'm gonna end the stream, but I hope you guys had a little bit of fun. Something. It's a good morning, and hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you for joining. Much luck.